live in Western Oregon. This is NBC 16 News at 5.
Frontline workers and underserved populations now have access to coronavirus testing, according to the Oregon Health Authority, who says the state is now relaxing guidelines. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Jacqueline Mazer. Now, under these new guidelines, people with no symptoms can be tested if there are enough supplies. This includes those who work in the public, like grocery store employees and bank tellers. The state epidemiologist says the guidelines will help providers make decisions about who to test based off a patient's symptoms. Dr. Dean Seidlinger says people who work in the public have more exposure to the virus.
A number of folks who continue to have to work and have more contact with the public, while most people have been staying home to save lives. And so those individuals with their increased contact, have more chance of getting infected.
Testing was previously reserved for healthcare workers, hospitalized patients, and people with underlying medical conditions who are more at risk. The Bay Area Hospital in Coos Bay furloughed 71 employees for 45 days. Most furloughing has been on a voluntary basis, as they've seen a major drop in patients with people foregoing elective procedures. Employees will report back to work after the agreed upon time and may be called back earlier if needed. The hospital says those workers will retain their benefits and seniority. Now, Oregon has surpassed the 2,000 mark in coronavirus cases. Oregon Health Authority announced 46 new cases and 3 new deaths. The death toll now stands at 78 in the state. 2 deaths are a man and woman in Washington County and the other a man from Multnomah County, who all have underlying medical conditions. Focusing on our region, Benton County stands at 27 cases. Lynn County has 62 cases. Lane County has 48 cases. Deschutes County has the most in our region with 64 cases. Douglas County has 23 cases. Coos County has 2 cases. Both cases tested positive at Shutter Creek Correctional Facility. The number of coronavirus cases in Lane County has remained the same since Monday. Lane County public health officials say this is a good indication that the county is successfully flattening the curve of coronavirus cases. As far as lifting restrictions, health officials will rely on Governor Kate Brown's guidelines, but the protocol will be adapted to fit what's happening locally.
We can show that we can maintain those physical distancing guidelines during this time, then I think that the hope and the trust in our communities to do that when the restrictions are lifted.
A number of criteria must be reached before guidelines are lifted, including increased testing and adequate levels of personal protective equipment. Davis says Lane County is in a good place right now. Well, new information tonight. Just hours ago, President Trump ordered a 60-day pause on immigration into the United States. The order would apply only to those seeking permanent residency and not to temporary workers. President Trump says the order attempts to limit job competition in the U.S. as the economy has yet to open and bounce back from the coronavirus pandemic. He plans to sign the order as soon as tomorrow. Well, today, the Senate approved a new nearly $500 billion coronavirus aid bill. That bill includes $310 billion for the Paycheck Protection Program, $75 billion for hospitals, and $25 billion for testing and state resources. The House could pass the new bill in the coming days. The coronavirus pandemic has forced the Roseburg YMCA to close its doors, and there's now uncertainty whether they'll have enough resources to reopen when the time comes. NBC 16's David Ochoa has the story.
While people gathered in a section of the Roseburg YMCA to donate blood, the rest of the facility sits empty and unused.
We've done things like, as you can see, draining the pools, turning off the heat, and making sure our costs are as low as possible.
The YMCA has been hit hard during the outbreak. They've had to lay off many of the 145 plus employees to keep costs down. They're doing whatever they can to try and come back once things return to normal.
We are applying for as many, opportunities that are out there with small business loans and such that we're optimistic that we will be able to reopen our doors.
Summer projects, like redoing the gym floor or repairing the pool, have been moved up to save time. Some YMCA members have decided to help out by continuing to pay their fees as kind of a donation. Even though the facility is closed, they are still checking up on their members and taking their social responsibilities seriously.
A lot of those are seniors who are home alone. They come in, they don't have anyone at home, and sometimes they can talk on the phone for 40 minutes just letting us know how they're doing. And it's been really heartwarming to talk to these people.
For now, they're waiting on the governor's plan to see how or when they can start reopening. Reporting from Roseburg, I'm David Ochoa.
Well, 2 Cottage Grove men were cited for trespassing on a closed beach in Otter Rock Monday afternoon. The Lincoln County Sheriff's Office says 2 people were seen climbing over a chain link fence, passing over surfboards, and then heading to the beach. Deputies identified the suspects as 20-year-old Max Gauss and 19-year-old Connor Owens of Cottage Grove. The Sheriff's Office says they are actively patrolling the area as there have been several trespassing complaints and people congregating in violation of Governor Brown's stay-at-home order.
A little bit different weather pattern here across western Oregon today. We started the day off with mostly cloudy skies, but now you can see the sunshine is fully in abundance. And the cloud coverage we saw earlier today kind of kept our temperature slightly on the cooler side. Here's a look at some of the numbers across western Oregon, as we did manage to make it up into the low 60s, southern Willamette Valley into the upper 60s, Umpqua Valley and out to the mid to upper 50s along the coast. But those clearing skies overhead from earlier on our Tuesday, and of course our radar and satellite shows those clouds starting to pull away just in time for them to start to push their way back in with our next storm system. But there is some good news. Despite trees being at extreme levels for pollen count today, tomorrow likely to drop down to moderate thanks to rain showers that are making their way back into our area. Temperatures on the mild side, but we'll have that timeline in just a few minutes.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Josh. Well, as parts of Oregon see severe drought again this time of year, fire officials are gearing up in preparation for an early wildfire season. The Oregon Department of Forestry says current fire conditions are more relatable from mid to late June. Annual fire school training is held in June, but this year it will be a combination of virtual and distance training. ODF says response and staff numbers will not change due to the coronavirus, but they will take extra measures to prevent any spread. Firefighters are calling on the public to take extra precautions as well and stop backyard burning.
Since people are home and they've taken this opportunity to clean up around their property, what are they going to do with that debris? And so we are seeing an uptick in fires that have escaped those debris burn piles.
ODF is asking the public to either find an alternative to burning or cover their burn piles and wait to burn until fall. Well, the Willamette Farm and Food Coalition is reminding people they can still access local food while maintaining social distancing. Local farms are feeling the effects of the coronavirus pandemic as farmers depend on local restaurants and schools to stay afloat. A number of local farms are offering pickup and delivery options for fresh foods. Program Director Rachel Ward says farms need your support now more than ever.
Because of restaurants closing down or drastically reducing operations and schools as well. A lot of farms that would normally sell to those restaurants and schools have lost a big, steady marketplace and are looking for ways to continue to feed the community.
The coalition wants to let people know they are actively running their Double Up Food Bucks program, allowing SNAP benefit recipients the opportunity to double up on their purchase of fresh vegetables at farmers markets. Well, LCC is hosting their first virtual town hall tonight with information regarding Measure 20-306 on the May 19th ballot. In that measure, LCC would use bond dollars to address safety projects identified in the facilities plan. If approved, the $121.5 million measure would fund safety and security updates, seismic retrofitting, expand health professionals and workforce training programs, and modernize classroom technology throughout the district. Now, to watch the virtual meeting, you can visit lanecc.edu/bond. The meeting starts at 6 o'clock. Now, a reminder, the news doesn't end when we are not on air. You can still stay informed with our newsletter. Make sure you sign up to get the latest updates on your local stories in your inbox. Visit NBC16.com/sign-up. Type in your email and click sign up. Coming up next on NBC 16 at 5, states are making moves to reopen despite health officials' warnings, how the move may put the public and nation at risk. Plus, antibody testing is underway in Washington, what one recent study shows about testing numbers nationwide.